Oh my God, here's a little behind the scenes. What the is this? You were a bitch and you were so mean to me for absolutely no reason. I think you were threatened by me, if we're being honest. Sucks to suck. There was a lot, I'm sorry. And before the active shooter drill, this officer goes, we are going to be yelling and we might say some very vulgar things. I can't with these rule follower bitches sometimes. Hi, we're doing something new. Clearly, I've upped the budget, so here we are. As you know, or you don't know, maybe you're new here. Hi, how are you? Like, comment, and subscribe. I feel obligated to say that, but it does make me sound like a little bit of an influencer, and I don't like that, so here we are. I'm gonna go through some of my old jokes, dissect them, and tell you the true story behind what really happened, because I don't know if you know, I'm an autobiographical comic, which, if you know what words mean, that means I talk a lot about my favorite thing, me. Anyway, this joke that we're gonna go through is my guns in school bit. I would say that it's famous, but I'm not, so why would the joke be? There's some humor behind it, and I haven't watched this in a while. I filmed this 3 years ago, maybe more than that, at the Belasco Theater in LA. It's part of my first ever comedy special, Don't Eat The Crayons. Which, a little behind the scenes of that, I shot a full hour special and then I watched it back and I hated it. So I cut it down to 30 minutes. So now it's a 30-minute special and I put out there and then I repurposed some of the material and used for other things. Ha! Cause I'm what? A bitch. Anyway, let's watch the joke.
Like there's a gun problem in schools. And the way that this government wants to handle that is they want to give guns to the teachers. Now,
first thing, I'm not a political person. I don't like talking about politics in my stand-up. It's just who I am. So, but sometimes I feel like I can and should. Now, this whole guns in schools thing, people are like, I can't believe you, blah, 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 especially on TikTok. People feel like they can really say a lot about a lot on TikTok. It's like, first of all, shut the up. I'm talking about my own life. This is literally my lived experience. I was a teacher for 10 years. I think I can tell you what I thought about it. Anyway, let's get into it.
I don't think who's ever trying to pass that law realizes that that means that guns would go to people like me.
They shouldn't.
Picture it. It's a Wednesday. It's the professional development where they're passing out the guns.
This is funny to watch. I haven't watched this in a very long time. Okay, now that got a very big laugh. If you're not a teacher or used to be a teacher, a little bit of backstory. While people are always like, you were a teacher and then you quit to do comedy. Wrong. I was a comedian. Comedy was always the goal and always the passion. And I was also a teacher. I was doing comedy at night for $10 spots, $20 spots, $50 spots to put gas in my tank and shit like that. This was always the goal, okay? But because of that, I started talking about being in the classroom a lot and I accumulated this fan base of teachers who are the core. Now we're adapting, we're moving and we're growing. The ones who are still into what I'm doing now, you're still here. And the new ones, the gay ones, yes, welcome. This little symbol that I'm doing right here, that's like when the fingers are up, the mouths are shut, or whatever you want to say. I whip that out every now and then in the shows, and it's still very funny because the teachers are like, there's some teacher specific shit in there. They'll just never leave. Once a teacher, always a teacher.
The liaison officer has them splayed out on a table in the library. Yes, it's a kidney table.
Also very specific.
And I show up to work rattling off questions like, excuse me, can I label my gun with my cricket?
Also very specific. It's a label.
No? Okay.
Thing.
Do you have a pink camouflage option? No, I don't have a gun safe. I was just gonna keep it in the treasure box. The craziest thing to me that they don't realize is that whenever the government makes a new law about education, the districts have to roll it out in the most complicated way possible.
True, like beyond accurate.
Yeah, the way that teachers would find out that you're getting a gun is you'd be driving to work in your Flintstones car, and You roll up in your 1994 Buick Regal that you're still paying off. I see you. And you park, and your boss sends a mass text to the whole staff, and she's frantic. She's like, attention, when you get to your classroom today, your gun will be waiting on your desk for you. Yay! I'm like, oh gosh, thank you, Kathleen. Just so you know, I don't even know where I left my good grading pens. But sure, leave a gun on my desk.
Shit's real, okay? When I was teaching, I was a student teacher, and I was student teaching in 6th grade, and I'll never forget this. We had a field trip, and it was like at a park. One of the girls were like, can we wear tank tops? And I was like, yeah. Then this other old teacher, she was a bitch, I'll say it right here. You were a bitch, and you were so mean to me for absolutely no reason. I think you were threatened by me, if we're being honest. Anyway, sucks to suck. Oh my God. There was a lot, I'm sorry. You were a bitch. Anyway, she heard that I said this, and she came up to me, and this is why you're a bitch. She came up to me and she goes, did you tell the girls that they could wear tank tops on the field trip? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, what jurisdiction do you think you have to do that? She said, did you not read the manual? Not the manual, but like the district guidelines handout or whatever. And I was like, bitch, I'm like a student. I'm not even getting like paid to do this. Like, what are you fucking talking about? And she was like, that's against the rules or whatever. Went back and checked. The rule was blah, blah, blah. 3 fingers have to cover your strap, which shut the hell up. Anyway, like she was acting like these girls were gonna come in tube tops and we were gonna go on a field trip, and then all these 6th graders were just gonna start sliding down the poles with the boys throwing $1 bills at them. Like, shut the up. I can't with these rule follower bitches sometimes. Anyway, so she comes out and like leaves it at that. She reads me this little bullshit thing, and I'm like, okay, whatever. The next morning, the day of the field trip, I got to work super early, as you should when it's a field trip day. The principal emailed me, because that bitch ratted me out, wanted me to personally call all of the parents of all the female students to tell them what the actual rule is and that they wouldn't wear tank tops. I said, I'll go home right now and I'll just grab all of my oversized t-shirts, and if anyone's breaking the oh so precious dress code, that we will just give them one of my t-shirts and I'll just throw that over. Come to find out, no one came to school breaking the dress code, and no, I didn't call anybody either. Anyway, all that to say, they will send you some email at the very last minute and expect you just to flip over backwards to make it happen. There's so much bullshit in this profession, I swear to God.
And then you get to your desk, and there's your brand new musket, probably. Stop. Can you picture that shit? Like the bad guys come, and all the teachers are like, hey, hold on, I got this one. You run out of ammo, you're just screaming at the kids like, Bethany, grab the pencil shavings. Grab the pencil shavings and a meter stick, shove it down the tube. Hurry up, you little bitch, the British are coming.
Okay, so the musket part was really funny in the creation of this joke, because I kept saying musket, 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 musket. It was getting a really big pop. And then I was talking to one of my comedy friends in the back, and they were just like explaining the joke, and they started like going like this to the musket. And I was like, I think I should do a full-blown act out with this thing, right? So it started with just the what the fuck is this? What is this? If I'm doing this and I'm jacking it off, I guess, I don't know. But this whole musket thing, and I did that in the act out, and it was incredible. First time I did it, huge pop. And then I was like, well, what if the musket, like where would the teachers keep the musket? You can't keep it in your desk because it's a huge ass gun. So like, go get it off the wall. And then that act out of grabbing it off the wall, it just added to this whole creation of creating the classroom. I talk about the kidney table being there, so you can kind of like see the layout of the room. I grabbed it off the wall, I came back, I cocked it. It was great.
It's a real 1, 2, 3, all eyes on me situation.
And then you gotta cock it again. Now, the funny thing about this joke is this is true. This stems from a real true place. So I used to teach, okay, shout out to one of the best buildings I ever worked at, Roosevelt Elementary in West Bloomfield School District in Kegel Harbor, Michigan. Okay, first of all, don't get it twisted. If you know West Bloomfield, Roosevelt was not your typical bougie West Bloomfield place. We're in this ancient building, which sadly got torn down. Get this, over the summer, I guess the ceiling collapsed right in my first ever classroom. And then it was too expensive to rebuild, so they shut that shit down. Oh my God, here's a little behind the scenes. I was supposed to shoot this special in that school. I was gonna do it on the stage in the cafeteria, and I was gonna shoot it in that school. And then the ceiling collapsed, and they were like, Joe, this is like not gonna happen in time, so you can't do it. So we shot at the Belasco in LA instead. I do think that I really love the background and how it turned out, though. But it would have been great to have shot it at Roosevelt. Roosevelt was the first school that I was ever hired at after student teaching. The staff were the greatest people I've ever worked with in my life. These people had a sense of humor. We would joke about the f***ery and the buffoonery that would happen all the time, and it was just fun. Okay. Here's an example of how fun it was. One of the other teachers, you know who you are. Her and I would start like playing little pranks and stuff, and it was around Christmas time, and we found this printout sheet of paper that was like, the Grinch is coming to get you if you were bad. And we like put this in all the kids' lockers, like sporadically threw them around the hallway, like the Grinch was coming, or the Grinch came to school. And then right as we finished, hundreds of these things scattered throughout the building. Right as we finished, we noticed there was like a phone number at the bottom of the page. We're like, maybe we should just like try this phone number and see what it does. We called the number. The number was like, you just called the Grinch, you little bitch. And this sheet was in all the kids' lockers, so we had to frantically go through and find all of these papers. We put them in so many lockers, I'm pretty sure some of the kids still got the Grinch paperwork. Anyway, this was just a building based on pranks, love, and fun. We had a professional development day where the police department came to school, and they were gonna do a mock safety drill, an active shooter drill. They were gonna do an active shooter drill. And before the active shooter drill, the officer was explaining to all the teachers what it would be like in real life, okay? And I'll never forget, this officer goes, we are going to be screaming and yelling, and we might say some very vulgar things. And then the secretary at this building, we're looking at her, and she raises her hand, and she goes, vulgar? Vulgar? What are you gonna yell at me? Put your on the ground. It was funny. And to this day, we will all text each other, put your on the ground. We abbreviated it to POG. So whenever the students were around and we wanted to joke about this, we would just yell POG, POG. It was what we did. Great culture there. I miss it. Those are some of the best times of my life. And let me tell you what, the end of the year staff parties, let's just say what happens in the jacuzzi stays in the jacuzzi. Anyway, that's what I got. That joke was really fun. It was fun to write. It was fun to perform. If you haven't watched Don't Eat the Crayons, go watch it now. Let me know in the comments if you liked this. I'll do more of these because I feel like you guys know me on stage, but you don't know me like me. I love you. God bless if you believe in that. And we'll see you for the next one. Maybe next week. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Love you. Bye. Like, comment, subscribe.